Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Michael.
I'm away.
And we are the Knights of Entertainment, a podcast covering your favorite and unknown movies, games, anime, and more weekly. We appreciate you being here and hope you enjoy the show. This is one that I don't know if you have actually seen. You may have seen clips, but I don't know if you've seen the actual anime. Goblin Slayer.
Oh, fuck. Everybody knows Goblin Slayer.
I don't know if you've seen the actual...
I'm not watching that either. Especially not with the first story, from what I hear.
First episode?
I hear it's a doozy.
Yeah. Goblin Slayer, it's been around for about a year, I think. A year or 2 years, something like that. It's got 12 episodes, 13 if you count a recap episode.
A recap episode?
Yeah.
Well, here's what happened.
Right. And
Done.
for the first 10 episodes. So it's a 10.5.
Why bother?
I don't know why they did that.
You,
I think it was because...
you think they would recap One Piece? They don't give a fuck. She just keeps trucking on.
So we start off with episode 1. It's called The Fate of Particular Adventurers. All right. So a young priestess joins a group of rookie adventurers who decide to raid a cave infested with goblins. Things quickly go awry when the inexperienced party is ambushed by goblins, resulting in all of them, except for the princess, being killed, raped, and captured.
All three?
Yeah.
All of them?
They were either killed, raped, or captured.
Oh, they got all three of the business. Jesus.
So the dude that had the sword, and he was killed. The girls were taken advantage of.
Ugh.
Yeah. The priestess is rescued by a sudden arrival of Goblin Slayer. And that's what they call him.
Yeah.
Who swiftly kills the goblins attacking her. She decides to follow him.
Doesn't he pull a Anakin Skywalker? And kill the kids too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got no remorse for these goblins.
And the women? And the children too?
He shoves a torch up their ass. It's like...
Jesus Christ.
He does not care.
Is hentai?
No. There's plenty of hentai about it, but no, this is not hentai. She decides to follow him as he proceeds deeper into the cave, killing more goblins and teaching her about their psychology and battle tactics. Because that's what he does, is he kills goblins. With the priestess' help, Goblin Slayer is able to kill the remaining goblins, including a goblin shaman and hobgoblin. So 2 higher ranking ones. They then discover several goblin infants, which Goblin Slayer mercilessly kills to prevent them from becoming threats in the future.
Because I guess, why can't you raise them to be better?
Yeah. His thing is that if I let them go, because they look like they were huddled in fear, basically, these goblin kids, and he's like, if I let them go, they're going to come back and attack everybody for what we did. So we just kill them.
Jeez.
It's like, damn.
It's logic.
Yeah. Despite the traumatic experience, the priestess decides to join Goblin Slayer as his adventuring companion at this point. Episode 2. It's titled Goblin Slayer. Real innovative.
I'm confused. Is Goblin Slayer the main character?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they call him. Goblin Slayer. Goblin Slayer accompanies his childhood friend, Cowgirl.
Rhyme Cowgirl.
Which is a girl that lives on a farm.
Nah, boring.
To sell her uncle's farm produce in the city. He later heads to the Adventurers Guild to find work, where he is treated by the rest of the adventurers as an outcast due to his low-quality armor and his habit of only accepting goblin-related quests, despite his status as a high-ranked adventurer.
Are there more stuff to fight or just goblins?
No, there's a bunch of other things to kill.
So why goblins so fucking dominant in this? Oh,
that's his thing. He only one. He's like, you got goblins to kill.
It's a very specific niche job he decided to stick to.
Yeah, he sticks to it too. Nevertheless, the guild girl, a member of the staff of the guild, is glad for his dedication towards goblin extermination, since most adventurers don't take the goblin quest due to their low bounties, and those that do are often inexperienced. So since he's a high-rank adventurer willing to do it,
right,
they're actually happy that he does do it.
So they should pay him a little more, shouldn't they? It reminds me of the first mission in the Fighters Guild in Morrowind.
Yeah.
Where they send you to some house to fight some rats.
Yeah.
And almost beat the brakes off of you.
Just the rats themselves.
Yeah, just anything in that game, I swear.
That's why he had to have the cheat code. Goblin Slayer reveals that when he was a young boy, his village was attacked by goblins who killed nearly all of the villagers, including the cowgirl's parents.
Damn.
So that's one reason why he hates.
Is that her name?
They didn't mention her name in this part yet. So You just see her. They don't actually say her name at this point, so they just call her the cow.
The cowgirl.
Two separate words though, not together. So cow and girl.
Is it hyphenated?
No.
Spider-Man wouldn't like that.
No, you wouldn't. There he witnessed the gang grape, because I'm not going to repeat that word over and over,
Fuck.
and subsequent murder of his elder sister by goblins. So that's one reason why he don't like goblins too much. This led him to train himself and learn how to kill goblins, but also resulted in him becoming socially awkward and obsessed with killing them. Which Cowgirl's uncle warns will be why Goblin Slayer will never be normal. He's like, he's always going to be weird.
Insane.
Cowgirl continues to support her friend despite her uncle's warnings, as she wishes to apologize to him for not bringing him with her to the city on the day before the goblins attacked their village, because she had left the village to do stuff. Later, Goblin Slayer and the priestess attack a fortress occupied by goblins, burning it down and preventing the goblins from escaping. Elsewhere, a high elf and her companions are looking for an adventurer named Orkbolg.
Orkborg?
Orkbolg. Orcbolg. Orkbolg.
Is it an orc? Or is it a goblin?
That's who they're looking for, is Orkbolg. So we go into episode 3. It's called Unexpected Visitors.
Say goblins? I bet you it's goblins.
So the high elf archer, a dwarf shaman.
So this is basically a legit, like, regular fantasy series. There's no crazy Japanese spin-off thing where they do.
No.
It's just like this guy just wanted to do, like, just decided to.
He is the Goblin Slayer.
But in a world that's pretty Americanized fantasy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not nothing super crazy. Nobody is reincarnated into this world. No.
Anything weird, yeah.
Just it's straightforward, but his specialty is fucking killing goblins.
Can't stand goblins.
So you have this high elf archer, a dwarf shaman, and a lizard priest ask the guild girl for an adventurer called Orkbolg and Beard Cutter, actually referring to Goblin Slayer in their race's native tongue.
Race's native tongue?
Yeah.
Oh, their races.
Their races.
Is that like you said racist native tongue? I'm like, what?
Their races native tongues. So Orkbolg, it is I believe the archer, something like that. But each one of them, like one of them calls him Beard Cutter, which I think is the dwarf, and then Orkbolg is what the lizard priest and the high elf archer know Goblin Slayer as.
Okay.
That's what his name is in their language.
Oh, okay.
So he's got nicknames basically. While Goblin Slayer talks to the trio, the priestess gets defended by a witch, an acquaintance of Goblin Slayer, when some rookie adventurers try to convince the priestess to leave Goblin Slayer and join them, assuming he is only using the priestess as bait.
Okay.
That's what the other adventurers think anyway.
Wow.
The high elf archerer explains to Goblin Slayer that their races have united with the human kingdoms to fight against the resurrected demon lord's army and want to hire him for the related quest.
It's like, no, thank you. Only goblins. Then just leave.
Goblin Slayer refuses at first, much to the high elf archer's anger, as demons are not his concern until the dwarf shaman and lizard priest mentions runes in the elven lands occupied by goblins, since the
goblins, you say? That's all he had to goblins, huh?
Yes.
That's all he had to hear.
Yep. Since the elves cannot mobilize their army due to political concerns. The priestess also joins their quest after calling out Goblin Slayer for not asking if she wanted to join. As the group make camp and enjoy their races, not racist, but races foods, a drunken high elf archer berates Goblin Slayer for his rude behavior while the others talk about where goblins come from. The next day, the high elf kills the goblin sentries at the ruins and the group enters.
The runes.
The runes. Episode 4 is called The Strong. So Goblin Slayer's group enters the ruins, where he notices there are no totems, suggesting a shaman does not lead these goblins. So he looks for these things as soon as he...
What, an expert goblins hunter over here?
Yes. After rescuing an elven prisoner tortured by these goblins, and an angry high elf archer vows to avenge her fellow kin. So they find this elf that the goblins have raped. The group finds a hall where the goblins are resting. Goblin Slayer's group uses sleeping and silence spells to kill the sleeping goblins without alerting the others. so being stealthy too.
Somebody just started stabbing him in the neck.
He does.
One at a time. Bang, bang, bang.
No, he just goes up to him and just shoves his sword into their chest.
Okay. Problem solved.
However, their silence alerts the goblin's leader, an ogre, one of the demon lord's generals.
An ogre, huh?
Mm-hmm. The ogre attacks the...
He's like, no, thank you. I don't fight ogres. And you can leave.
Nah, y'all got this. The ogre's attacks... he attacks the groups using his strength and fire magic and proves difficult to kill due to his large size and ability to heal quickly. And so it's literally like high fantasy from the Western.
I don't know. Do ogres have a high healing factor?
Generally, yeah. With his...
I didn't have it in God of War.
No. With his allies at their limit, Goblin Slayer uses his trump card, a magic teleportation scroll given to him by the witch from the guild, which sends strong jets of water from the bottom of the ocean to damage the ogre before giving him the killing blow.
He's going right up his asshole.
High pressure water.
Yeah, like,
Can't help from that. As elvish reinforcements arrive to take over the ruins, and Goblin Slayer's group heads back to the city. Her experience with Goblin Slayer and his obsession makes the High Elf want to take Goblin Slayer to a proper adventure at the end of this episode.
About goblins? It's like, no, well, no.
I don't want to go.
Fuck it. Fuck all that shit.
Episode 5 is called Adventures and Daily Life. So after recovering from his wounds, Goblin Slayer helps the cowgirl cart supplies to the town. There, he meets the High Elf, the Dwarf, and the Lizard Priest and tells them he is open to the idea of exploring some of the ruins with them. The priestess informs him that she has been promoted to the next adventurer rank and formally thanks Goblin Slayer for saving her life.
Yay.
From the very first episode, so she properly thanks.
Oh, it's the chick from the first one?
Yeah, the priestess.
Okay.
He then encounters 2 young adventurers who's lost a sword in the sewers and advises them to use a club as an improvised weapon so that they can go and retrieve it. Like, know what you do?
You grab this lake right here?
Go get a club. The guild girl asks him to act as an observer on a promotion exam where she pushes a Rhea scout for stealing loot from his party. The Rhea scout considers attacking the guild girl, but is dissuaded by the Goblin Slayer's apprentice there, or presence there. So just him being there and him being such a high rank adventurer,
Yeah.
people's like, yeah, never mind. Meanwhile, the 2 young adventurers recover the sword thanks to Goblin Slayer's advice. Goblin Slayer then retrieves a special Goblin Slayer request from the Sword Maiden herself.
More goblins, huh?
More goblins.
It's like shit I live for.
It really is what he lives for. Episode 6 is called Goblin Slayer and the Water Town. So, 10 years ago, a group of heroes, including the Sword Maiden, slew the original Demon Lord. Currently, the new hero and her companions slay the resurrected Demon Lord in another part of the world and crush his army, though some generals remain on the loose. Goblin Slayer and the rest of the party journey to the Water Town, where they meet the Sword Maiden, now retired. The Sword Maiden informs him that there are a string of violent murders in the town recently, and they suspect the culprits to be goblins in the town's sewer system.
He just smells the air. Goblins here.
Yeah. That is kind of what he does. He literally can smell them. Like,
geez, that man is upset. Jesus Christ.
Since the army won't mobilize to fight goblins and other adventurers have failed, she decided to reach out to him specifically. Goblin Slayer, he agrees to the quest and leads the party into the sewers, where they discover the goblins have learned how to use boats to navigate the sewers.
They're evolving. You all fucking losing this shit. They're evolving.
Yes, and this puzzles Goblin Slayer, as goblins have never been smart enough to use boats before.
That must be being led by somebody they can.
Yeah. After sinking the goblin boat, the party attracts the attention of a giant alligator, which they take advantage of by tricking it into destroying the rest of the goblin fleet.
That's a very regular world. Like there's no let's get this alligator to destroy these boats.
Exactly.
So weird.
As they return to the surface, Goblin Slayer is troubled that the goblins knew how to use the boats, yet were unaware of the alligator. So it's like, how were they smart enough to know how to use boats, but didn't know that monster was down there? Leading him to conclude that somebody had placed the goblins in the sewers, and that they didn't go there specifically themselves.
Right.
So episode 7 is called Onward Unto Death. After a brief rest in town, Goblin Slayer and his party venture back into the sewers to investigate the source of the goblins. Goblin Slayer brings along a canary to warn him of any poison gas as a precaution, like an actual canary.
They do that to the mites back in the day.
Yeah. The party delves deeper into the sewers, but is led into a trap and locked into a tomb. The goblins also begin pumping poison gas into that room, where the canary warns the party of and successfully seal off the vents to prevent the gas from entering.
I would have a talking bird like, yo, there's gas in like a parrot. Hey,
Hey, motherfucker!
we gonna die. You know what's funny? Like, not funny, but in the canary in the mines type thing,
Mhm.
people assume like these poor canaries would die, but they actually had ventilation systems to revive them back up when they got knocked out by gas.
Yeah,
So they had like little like air pretty much like CPR machines for little canaries.
yeah,
Because the miners got attached to the canaries,
yeah.
so they didn't just throw them in there.
No, it's not like they had no heart. They wanted to keep their pet.
Oh yeah,
Obviously. And plus, it'd be good luck if the canary could make the noises as it was getting ready to faint.
yeah.
It's good luck to keep the same one that warned you already once. All right, moving on. The goblins then resort to attacking the party directly, revealing a goblin champion is leading them. The goblin champion critically wounds Goblin Slayer and attacks the priestess as the goblins overwhelm the rest of the party. Motivated by the priestess's screams, Goblin Slayer regains consciousness and attacks the goblin champion from behind, tearing his right eye out in the process.
But it just should absorb his ass or something. And it's prone to that.
The goblin champion and his minions flee, giving the party the chance to recoup. The priestess' wounds are healed, but Goblin Slayer collapses from his own wounds. Episode 8: Whispers and Prayers and Chants. So 2 ands, and that just bothers me. Should have been whispers, prayers, and chants, but it's whispers and prayers and chants. Goblin Slayer wakes up in the Temple of Law, having been healed with a resurrection miracle.
Because they healed that, he come right back to life.
Yeah.
They healed him with a thing that resurrects you.
Yes.
But he was fucking dead.
Yeah. So the Sword Maiden confides in Goblin Slayer. She has been captured, raped, and tortured by goblins 10 years ago.
Damn.
Which is the source of her scars and partial blindness. Despite being one of the heroes who slew the Demon King, she is still deathly afraid.
That shit's already done with?
Well, the original Demon
Like the main. Oh, that was before?
Yeah, there's another one that just was killed by the new heroes. I guess they don't really.
I like that. Like they're not fixated on the world-ending stories, but rather
It's all about goblins.
like with this man.
So even though she was able to kill the Demon King, she's still deathly afraid of goblins because of what happened to her.
Quite the hero then.
The High Elf Archer, the Dwarf Shaman, and the Lizard Priest decide to continue scouting the sewers while Goblin Slayer and the Priestess spend the day in town recovering and repairing their gear. The Witch and the Spearman from the guild arrive to deliver a mysterious package to Goblin Slayer. Meanwhile, the Cowgirl continues to wait for Goblin Slayer's return, despite her uncle's warnings he may not come back in one day. The following day, the whole party heads back into the sewers and finds a room guarded by a powerful demon. Goblin Slayer uses the package, which contains fine flour, and spreads it around the room to create a dust explosion.
We've had a dust explosion before. In a blacksmith shop.
yes, only black powder. I mean, that really does happen on Mythbusters, I believe. They actually tested that myth about an explosion in like a baking company or something like that, where they got a fan, they put flour on top of it, let it spin, and it will explode.
Ouch.
Which, yeah. The explosion kills the demon, and the party investigates a mysterious mirror it was guarding. So we go into episode 9. It's called There and Back Again. The party discovers the mirror is actually a gate linking the sewers of Watertown with the Green Moon, allowing goblins to enter.
It's the Green Moon.
It's the moon literally above in the skies, but that's where goblins come from.
The moon?
Yeah. And it's green.
How'd they end up on Earth? From just a mirror? It'd be more than that.
No, it's more than just a mirror. But
well, I guess once they get here, they can just populate down here, so I don't have to. If the mirror gets broken, there's already goblins infested.
yeah,
It's almost like a hostile, invasive species from another planet. Then
kind of, yeah.
interesting.
As the Lizard Priest works to remove the mirror from the wall, the rest of the party repels the goblin counterattack led by the Goblin Champion, which is back again.
Guess who's back?
Back again. Once the mirror is loose, Goblin Slayer has the party take shelter under the mirror, while the dwarf shaman collapses the roof once the mirror is loose. The goblins are crushed, but the mirror protects the party, leaving them unscathed.
Yay.
The party encases the mirror in cement and sinks it into the river, as they can't guarantee other goblins won't try to learn how to use it. Goblin Slayer reports to the Sword Maiden, revealing he suspects she knew more than she let on in the original.
You lied to me.
Yeah. The Sword Maiden admits the giant alligator is her familiar that guards the sewers, while the mirror was placed by a cult of demon worshippers who the hero already wiped out. Even though the masterminds were taken out, Sword Maiden delayed doing anything about the goblins because she secretly wanted other people to understand the cruelty of goblins, what they're capable of. So she allowed them to.
You'll learn. You'll all see. You'll all see what I see.
Goblin Slayer merely replies he cannot save her from her trauma, but he will kill goblins if she asks him to. Even in her dreams.
You don't even have to ask him. He'll just kill him anyway.
Pretty much, yeah. Even in her dreams, which alleviates her worries. On the way back to the town, Goblin Slayer tells the rest of the party he plans to make ice treats, and the party promises to help him.
Ice? What the fuck kind of random segue was that?
You?
Can I make some popsicles? You can let them with me.
Episode 10 is called Dozing. The heroes defeat the Demon Lord. This is separate from Goblin Slayer, but the heroes, they defeat the Demon Lord and his army are confirmed. She becomes the 10th person ever to achieve a platinum rank. Festivities are held across the land at this point.
Yay!
Meanwhile, Goblin Slayer continues his daily
still fucking up goblins.
and accompanies the cowgirl to town to get his armor repaired. While there, he sees veteran adventurers training rookie adventurers, which he encounters the rest of his party, who invite him out to lunch. With Cowgirl and the girl from the guild also joining. During the meal, the guild girl notes the guild has started a program to have retired adventurers train rookie adventurers, so retired adventurers stay employed and rookie adventurers have a better chance of surviving.
Nice.
Instead of just going out and trying to kill goblins because they all think it's so easy. It's like, oh, killing a goblin's easy, and then they're the first ones that get graped. So
horrifically violated.
And you see, I'm not using that word. I'm using a fruit.
I'll grape you for decades and decades and decades.
Demonetization.
You ever seen that the Whitest Kids You Know skit show? There was this it's a really goofy, and this guy was dressed up as a grape.
Right.
And he kept telling he was gonna imprison his whole family underneath in the basement. He's gonna grape them for decades and decades and decades. They also use grape a lot.
Yeah. It's a way to avoid the demonetization that comes along with that specific word. So, the next day, Goblin Slayer performs more tours around the farm and reads a letter from the Sword Maiden, thanking him for his help and telling him she no longer sees goblins in her dreams.
Nice.
So just him going out and killing all these
makes her feel better.
Yeah. That night, Cowgirl shares a moment with Goblin Slayer and tells him that he should think about his future and not just mindlessly drone on and killing goblins every day. Going to bed, she reflects on the fact that Goblin Slayer can't kill goblins forever and wonders what will happen when the time comes. The next day, Goblin Slayer does his daily patrol around the farm and discovers goblin footprints now.
Oh, he's like, oh, here we go. It's all excited.
He's been, since his sister was killed by him and everything, it's one of those kind of traumatized things for him, to where he turned it into anger, obviously, toward goblins. But every day he would go around this farm checking, certain spots, kind of like a damn OCD, constantly checking all these spots because he knows goblins come up from this kind of an area, so he'd make sure there's nothing there. He would do this all the way around the farm every single day. This time he actually found goblin footprints.
So he's ready for it.
Yeah. We have also episode 10.5, but it's just a recap summarizing the events up to through the first 10 episodes. Episode 11, A Gathering of Adventurers is the title. So Goblin Slayer concludes that the horde is over 100 goblins will attack the farm soon.
Damn.
He warns this girl on the farm he cannot fight that many goblins in the open and urges her to run, but she refuses to abandon her home for a second time. Goblin Slayer heads to town to ask the other adventurers for help. They refuse at first, since there is no quest or reward posted for fighting the goblin horde. Goblin Slayer then offers everything he owns, equipment, assets, knowledge, and time, as a reward for helping him fight. So he's not too ashamed to actually ask for help. Sensing how serious Goblin Slayer is at this situation, the Spearman and the Witch agree to fight with him, as well as the 2 rookie adventurers Goblin Slayer helped. The ones that went and got their sword back.
Well, you think they'd help him get out of the goodness of their heart?
Yeah.
Assholes.
Well, they're doing it kind of out of the goodness. Like, they see that he's willing to give up everything, so they're willing to do it.
Mm.
And Goblin Slayer's party also joins. So the lizard man, the archer.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, should they join just out of friendship?
Yeah, they will too.
Okay.
Without question, for the rewards of food and drink afterward for joining him on
the Luffy staple.
Yes. The guild girl then announces that she's posted a bounty of 1 gold for each dead goblin.
Shit, I'd be raking it in.
Yeah. Which convinces the rest of the adventurers to join. Goblin Slayer warns the horde's adventurers after being led they are being led by a goblin lord, a highly intelligent goblin specialized in leadership. He devises an effective strategy for the adventurers to fight the horde.
The champion didn't make it from the rubble?
No.
That would be cool. I guess who's back?
Back for a 3rd time.
Like his nemesis?
And the first few waves of goblins are easily defeated. The Goblin Lord then sends several hobgoblins and goblin champions as adventurers at the adventurers and attempts to flee, but is intercepted by Goblin Slayer. Episode 12 is called The Fate of an Adventurer. While the veteran adventurers slay the hobgoblins and the goblin champions, because they're actually powerful enough to kill them too, since they're out in the open. So the magicians and stuff like that, they can actually use full force magic. Whereas Goblin Slayer, he's a high-ranking adventurer, but he's specialized only in killing goblins in their caves. Like, that's his thing. He uses super short swords. He doesn't worry about open air fighting for the most part. So he also he knows that he'll carry torches, he'll carry gunpowder materials and stuff, just like a whole bunch of random shit where
he too specialized in.
Like he will fuck up these goblins in their
environment, but not
out in the open. It's like
change the bottom.
However, when Goblin Slayer is about to be killed, the priestess casts 2 protection spells to trap the Goblin Lord. The Goblin Lord,
please protect my ball.
The Goblin Lord attempts to trick the priestess by begging for mercy, but this fails, and the Goblin Slayer kills him. It is revealed that this was all part of his plan, acting as a bait so the priestess could trap the Lord. So
what you want with him?
He basically tricked the priestess into helping him.
The
Goblin Slayer. It's like, no, I drew it out just so that way you could trap it.
Oh.
Between 2 walls of a barrier, to where you just smacking it to where it can't move.
Why even trick her at all? Did the whole group?
No, he not like a true trick, but he wanted her to use these spells, but he put himself out as bait the entire time.
I just told her, here's what we're gonna do. Here's the game plan.
But he also didn't want to say it in front of the Goblin Lord, since the Goblin Lord has enough intelligence to know what it's doing.
Well, in Spanish.
After all the goblins are killed and the farm is secured, the adventurers return to the guild to celebrate, where Goblin Slayer confides in Cowgirl, who has started to pick up an interest in becoming an adventurer. He removes his helm at the priestess' request as her reward.
It'd be funny if he was just ass ugly. That would be the funniest shit if he's just fucking fugly as hell. She's like, oh, thank you.
He is a goblin.
Yeah, she's like, oh, thanks.
And the other adventurers are surprised to see his face for the first time.
Like, oh my god, look at that ugly motherfucker. It's back when we had the whole pandemic and people had the masks on, right?
Yeah.
And then you like somebody and they take the mask, like, oh. And that's what I'm guessing for him. They're just like, oh god, put that bitch back on.
But then think about that though. Nobody has ever seen his face.
What about Cowgirl?
She has, obviously, but nobody else, like in the Adventurers Guild, nobody in this town.
That always it's always a letdown for people. Actually, if you haven't seen one in ever,
yeah,
kind of like that one streamer, Dream. He showed his face, and everyone's like, everyone fucking tore his asshole over. I'm like, god damn.
They let him have it.
He went back to not being in the face.
Or like whenever they wanted the Mandalorian, they wanted to see his face.
I mean, we know what he looks like. Fucking
true.
drop dead gorgeous.
All right. In the epilogue, the priestess narrates that Goblin Slayer is just another pawn on the board to the gods, but the gods have taken an interest in him due to his refusal to let the gods roll the dice on his actions, meaning his fate is completely unknown to them. She then remarks the Goblin Slayer is still out there fighting,
Yeah, he started whooping ass,
is still killing goblins,
still killing goblins.
and there is a season 2. So
It is a you would think like, oh, he's killing goblins for such small money, but he probably has a fucking fortune by now.
and he
It should have just add up.
well he gives it all to that girl on the farm. He get like to where he's paying
His
rent.
wife, basically at this point.
Yeah, with her dad there.
Are they related?
No,
Oh,
no, not at all. But they took him in whenever after his sister was
whole
with.
situation.
Yeah, so
Damn.
it's kind of like you understand. Like by the end of the season, you understand why he does what he does. Like he's got that drive to kill specifically goblins. But one of the big reasons is
I feel like at the end of the last episode, right? It goes into a monologue where he's like running through like the darkness, and it's like it's basically the monologue from The Dark Knight, but it's implemented on like he's not the hero we wanted, he's the hero we deserve.
kind of yeah.
It would be so fucking funny to me.
But yeah, he like I said, he was doing it. Like everybody assumes that goblins are just these weak creatures that we can kill them anytime we want. But then you see what they can do when they actually are left to their own devices.
They're odd ones for sure.
It's basically a thing saying don't underestimate weak creatures for the most part, even though like because everybody assumes even a rookie adventurer can kill them. They're just goblins, but it's like they're devious little fuckers.
Yeah. And they're not even native to the planet.
No, which is really weird.
So who knows what they do up on that green moon?
Yeah.
Weird.
I think they might talk about it in season 2, but I haven't made it through like the first 2.
They end the series. They might as well just end it with a war on the moon. You know that he would love to live up there.
Okay, just
Just killing zombies left and right.
just killing them the entire time. That'd be perfect for him.